Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Zach and I are doing a no run-through review for That Time You Killed Me by Peter C. Hayward. I was looking him up, and I don't know what else he's done, because I was like, man, such a fantastic game. It has to be done by like a prolific designer. But I don't know anything that he's done, but this game, so I don't like chess, like standard chess. It seems to, for me, mainly because I lose every time I play chess. But it definitely has the, I've played, way longer than you, so I'm just going to beat you.
Yeah.
And so I always like variants of chess, this and Onitama.
Mm-hmm.
And so this feels closer to chess, I think, than Onitama does.
Yes, I agree.
But with such a unique and fantastic twist on it, that it's not like over your head.
Correct.
Like because it's unique and different doesn't mean that it is like that it is difficult to learn. So I think this game is fantastic. What do you think?
I think it's very good. For abstract thought game out, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
The time elements are kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So playing it with the trees was definitely different.
Yeah.
Because it gave a little bit more strategy involved in it. And I would agree. So, like, I do enjoy chess.
Yeah.
But I enjoy chess more for what it brought to the table of board games.
Sure.
Because I agree. You hit a point in anybody's chess career where it goes from, I can outthink this player, to who has memorized more openings, mid-games, and closers than the other person has.
Yeah.
Who can see what move they're going to make because of those opening closers.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, he moved that pawn. Okay, so I have about 18 moves I can do to completely take his king.
Right, exactly. I mean, anybody who has even done any board games and then studied chess, most of the grandmasters just mastered openings and then played and changed them with slight variations.
Yeah, and memorized the the different types of moves.
Thousands of different moves.
Yeah.
In this, and I'll say because we've talked about Shobu and stuff, with abstract games you could probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fresh enough and new enough that you're talking something like chess, which has been around for hundreds of years, and people have been playing it for hundreds and hundreds of years. That's how long it takes to get to that point.
That is true.
So I do like the kind of fresh version of abstract games that come out with one-on-one players just trying to think, okay, I need to plan this move, which means it's really setting up this move, which is really setting up another move all the way down the table.
Yeah, I mean, because with this game, you're only limited to one pawn and one board.
Yep.
At any given time. But you have so many different options of how you can do that, and because there were multiple times where I would do an action or you would do an action, and I'm pretty sure he's going to do this, and then he doesn't, and then we don't, and then it's oh shit, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the time where you had moved, you wanted to do black, and I had this board was activated for me, and I saw, okay, he has a piece to jump back in time, and I think that's what he wants to do. I think he wants to jump back. So it's it doesn't hurt me to go here, and I think I block his next move, which I think it kind of did.
You did, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
And I figured that was how you were going to make that move. And it didn't hurt me, it didn't really set me up, but I figured I don't have any way to set myself up, so why not just stall it out and see what I can do after that move.
Right. I mean, because in the first game that we played, because you only have so many limited pawns, you can make copies of yourself to go back in time. So if you do that too quickly, then you're very much limited if your opponent still has
more
pawns.
Yeah.
Because the goal of the game isn't to remove all the pieces, it's to remove them from two eras. At least two eras. I mean, you can, I guess, potentially remove them completely.
Sure.
If everything's set up. But if you do that, then it's okay, well, I can't go back anymore like he still has another piece, so can I like try and wipe him so that if he has to go back, can I just still take his his new piece?
Yep.
It's so fascinating.
Yep.
And like what's really cool about this game is most abstract games are just exactly that. They're abstract.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job at least making it funny, like, and thematic.
Yes.
The rulebook was fantastic. Like, rulebooks are always a slog to read, especially because they're typically boring because of abstract games.
Yep.
But they did a really good job at making this like funny and really leaning into the time travel aspect. This is not the kind of game I would have expected from like a box like this that time, like and with a title like that.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job. I mean, just very much keeping it streamlined, simple.
Yep.
Like, because if you bump someone, then like, because you don't have to bump them to kill them,
Yeah.
so you can just bump them out of the way. Or if you're needing to stall, if you're like, okay, I wanted him to go to the past, but he went to the future instead, then it's like, okay, well, I need to set up a few more turns, so I'll just stall out over here and just knock him out of the way so he can't kill me.
Right.
And then I can move and try and navigate and keep up with them, which is what I was doing in like the first game.
Yeah. And that's what I realized kind of early, about halfway through, I should say, is if you run out of pawns, as long as I can keep someone in the past,
Yeah.
I have an advantage because you have to get 2 arrows out.
Yeah.
So now you have to control those 2 arrows versus, like the first game, we were both out of the past, and neither one of us could even make it back to the past.
Right.
So it's literally then, it doesn't matter which board gets taken out, it's one of those 2.
Right. And you're also limited by, if you have no copies left, then you can't really travel forward in time as much because, as we saw in our first game, because I waited for you to take your hand off,
Yeah.
because that's like the only hard rule is like everything could be rewound. Is like, oh, okay, well, I want to try and kill him from here. Oh, I'm gonna hop forward, and it's like, oh, well, no, then I'll just kill myself because then I won't have 2 in it. So that is probably the biggest. I would say that's the biggest learning curve, is managing your copies.
Yep.
Everything else is fine. It makes sense. You can move. You have 2 actions. You can move orthogonally. You can push, and you can travel forward or backward in time. Forward makes sense. You just go to the next spot.
Yeah.
But understanding, it's not so much actually travel backwards isn't like it's difficult to understand. You just go to that spot and put a copy in there. But it's understanding how valuable
Your pieces are.
your copies are,
Yeah.
which is kind of like chess.
Sure.
Like these are essentially like kind of like your pawns, and everyone thinks pawns are useless, and they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe grandmasters are like pawns suck or something. I don't know, but I would imagine grandmasters are looking at chess, and every piece is valuable.
Has a place and purpose
Yes.
for everything. And that's one of the things, like, you don't want to overspend your pawns or their pieces in here. But you don't want to be too stingy because it opens up options.
Right. I mean, it's kind of a safe haven where it's like, oh, you just killed a spot. Okay, I'm going to bump back,
Right.
and then because I still get to keep the copy there, and now I save myself on this side.
Which I found there's multiple times, because again, I did take it from a chess standpoint. It was like, okay, if I move here, yes, I am sacrificing a piece over there. He's definitely going to take it. But it means I get to take one of your pieces, and it sets me up for a next move on the next spot. And I was fine with that. That's where, like, I will agree, like, the chess mindset of understanding your pieces are precious, but also realize they're meant to be sacrificed at some point.
Right. Yeah, and they do have a skill gap like thing for this. So like if you're advanced, like let's say it's like me to you, like you remove one.
Sure.
So you have less in your and if you're, how many do you have? You have 6 total. 3 start.
7
total.
Yep.
That's 4 plus 3. If you're Grand Master, you remove 3, so you only have one.
One to jump back.
Yeah, which is wild because it's like, you basically save that one like
for the entire game.
Yeah, the entire game because having one person left for me in the game we played with the trees like would have potentially saved me
Yeah.
because there was nothing I could do. Where was I? I would have had to move there,
Yep.
and then
Which is why I was making on, because that's why I moved over here, was because, again, the tree one I kind of like. You plant seeds in the past, and it grows up. Mm-hmm. So I was planning just, in essence, wall you off, was just start planting seeds.
right,
As often as I could.
right. Yeah, that's true. That's true because if you can't make a move, then you essentially just auto shift your. But that is interesting, actually, because you would have to, That would have been funny.
Because if I can wall you off, I could jump in the forward right where you only have like one space. It's like if
You wouldn't even have to do that because
Yeah.
where I was over here, you could have just built
Right.
and then a tree and then just toppled a tree on me.
Right.
But then I could have planned for that, and then I just move over here and I wait and I topple the tree. No, it's so that brings up if there was no extra boxes and it was just like the first game that we played, the standard game, it would be all right.
Yeah.
But I think this game, I feel like if it was just the standard game, it would be good to get, but I wouldn't want to play it all the time. I don't like to play these games all the time anyway.
I agree. I don't want to play them all the time.
Right. But they included 4 boxes, and to be fair, we've only played the tree one, which in and of itself is already
fun.
It's a blast because there was so much that you can just do with that. So the tree one adds seeds, shrubs, and trees, and when you plant a seed, it plants the next level. So they even tied in some theme to just the abstract elements, and just those alone added so much strategy because there were so many times where I came in and I was like, I'm gonna remove some seeds so I can just get rid of the trees that are in our way because they're used to block, they're used to kill, they're used to crush. They're mainly used to block is what I was finding out.
Yep.
Because I was like, oh man. Because what I was planning on doing at one point was moving and removing this seed so I can get that and that one out of the way.
Yep, I kind of thought that might have been one of the plans.
Yeah. I mean, hell, because you can even use them to set yourself up in the future, because also understanding the focus area of your opponent, where it's like, oh, okay, well, he just used this area.
Which means he can't do it again.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
That is huge, because then that means if I was in the past, I'm going to plant a seed, and I did that at one point, I planted a seed, planted a shrub, and then it's like, oh, okay, now I can come over here and crush him.
I'll say that took me longer to get my mind wrapped around of how to plan that out.
With the seeds and shrubs and stuff?
No, where you were going to, because you did it here, right? So you have to move to one of the other 2 locations. Mm-hmm. But that means I have to set that up, right? So I watch where you go, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to do with the spot that I'm in that's going to set me up to be in a better position, because you can't be in that spot.
Right.
The spot you're in. So I know 2 spots of potential, which one you're most likely to do, and how to basically take advantage of that.
Exactly. And the thing is also if you... if we're in the same focus area and it happens to be my turn and you just move to that, it's like you could be planning something and I can just be like, oh, I'm out.
Right.
And you just hop out and then it's like, okay, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? I was planning on doing something to set something up and now he hopped 2 eras and now he's in the future. Because what's also something that we didn't even, I don't know if we ever did, was there's nothing stopping you from... traveling forward than traveling backward.
I thought about that a couple times.
Because if I travel forward then travel back, then I just go back there and then I create a copy there.
Yeah.
I don't know how useful that would be because none of us tried it.
Yeah. It crossed my mind one time.
I guess it could be like a last minute kind of thing.
And that's what I think, but I felt like if you jump, normally when you're jumping, it's either to set something up or you're trying to get out of a trap. And so jumping forward and back, either it's already been set up, in essence, or you're still in the trap.
That is true.
Again, we didn't try it, so maybe there's that moment to use it.
Because the one thing that's kind of weird about the game is that you have your focus area, and we initially, whenever we very first played this, we thought, I managed the pawns in that area, and you just pick an Act 1 pawn.
Yeah.
because it makes you want to be like, I'm going to travel back and then use the copy pawn to do something. But
yeah,
nope, that is not the case. But anyway, so the trees just add so much, like, to the game that already, like, bring it up to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, once you kind of understand the standard game, then you're like, okay, let's do trees. And they do have kind of a soft chapter thing. They say don't advance to the next chapter until you've played, what is it? Oh, that's the standard.
a couple games.
Yeah, I think it's just 3 games of chapter 1.
Sure.
And then next it brings in, it's called Influence. This art is fantastic. It kind of reminds me of, like, Salvador Dali, like, kind of art. The weird, or Picasso.
Yeah.
Is another one. But let's see. This one, statues, introduces that persists through time. Building or moving a statue not only affects your era, but all later eras. Whenever an object moves or is pushed into the statue is pushed. Let's see. I'm trying to just kind of quickly figure out why these matter. Let's see. When you place a new copy of your statue, place another copy of that statue. So it looks like you can manipulate statues. Let's see. Then there's memory, which adds dark elephants and light. They kept mentioning elephants in this one. I don't know why. Elephants that can be trained to follow your commands. Since elephants are long-lived, elephant pieces of the same color are the same elephant at different points in time. Trained elephants wear a hat of your color, just like in real life. Oh, yeah, of course. I forgot about the hat my elephant wears.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sitting outside. Come on. We can go look
true.
at that one.
It's in my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it adds elephants, and then I think chapter 4 is you combine chapters. Convergence. Yeah, so it's showing the trees, the elephants, and the statues. When playing the game, follow all rules for the 2 chapters you've combined. The following sections details any interactions you might run. So then you can just have elephants and trees, or statues and trees.
Sure.
Which, God, yeah, so they basically included in it. And this wasn't on Kickstarter. Like, I have to, like, I love when that happens. Jeez. It's like whenever a AAA game comes out and it's actually good.
Yeah.
It's always a shock at this point. But they just added so much into this box. Just with, I mean, you already have a lot of strategy from one chapter, and you do the next one. That's a whole new way to play. And the third one with the cool elephant, that just sounds neat. And then, you just combine them, and then it's then it's insane. Do you have any negatives?
No, I keep asking myself as if it's a negative of, would I own this? Because, like, I have Shobu, which is another kind of similar abstract game. Would I own both? And I don't know that I would.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would say one was better than the other. Like, if I didn't own either, I think both would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think, with Shobu and this one, they kind of have a very similar feel because it's like you can only interact on opposite.
You can both try and knock pieces off the board and so forth and so on.
I think I would probably say I would get this one just because it has way more variety.
Yeah.
And I think it was like $30 or something.
Yeah.
I think they actually mentioned it in here. No. Oh, no, it was... Oh, yeah, it was here because you got it for buying it off their website. So by now you might be wondering, who am I? Why was I the one who managed to contact you? And why did I choose to contact you not just by showing up at your doorstep, but through a letter in a game you paid $39.95 for? I don't know what the hell these are. It doesn't say. It looks like special abilities. Maybe they come in and expand in one of the boxes. But, like, because it says, like, Time Lord, you may use the first action of your turn to shift your focus to any area. Stubborn, if you started your turn in the present, you do not have to shift your focus at the end of your turn. Palindrome, when you use a plant, build, or train action, you may treat the timeline as if it were reversed. Oh, that's interesting.
That's cool. So you can make copies in the opposite direction.
Yeah, so you can actually... So planting a seed in the future would actually send...
Get back in time.
Interesting.
Okay.
And then Tunneler, while beside a wall, you may use an action to move through the wall and back onto the same arrow board on the opposite side. You are still squished if you are pushed into walls. So you could actually go, like, whoop, and go around. But it doesn't, like, it has this funny note, but it doesn't tell me how to include these.
I assume they're just player powers in essence.
Yeah.
Through it.
But so those are cool. Yeah, I guess for me, because I own Onitama, I technically do own a chessboard, but I've never actually played it. I mean, I think it's fine to own both, but because it's the same people who own like all those Lits and Yinch and those weird named abstract games, they own all those. I guess it depends on what kind of style you want.
Yeah.
I would actually say this feels more closely to Onitama than Shobu.
Yeah, I
just
would agree.
because of the weird twist on chess.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really don't have any nitpicks. The game, was 30 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. Not long.
Yeah, because we played a few games in just in an hour, so that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And with games that require a lot of thinking, most kind of games, 1v1 games, tend to last around an hour for me.
Yeah.
But this definitely includes, I guess, analysis paralysis. If you have people who are going to overthink a lot of, because I tend to not like to sit here for 10 minutes and think.
Right.
So I'll just kind of, I wouldn't say wing it, but there are times where I'm like, I'm taking a long time. Okay, let's just see what this does.
Yeah.
And he usually bites me in the ass, and then I'm like, I'm so stupid! And I just cry in the shower with my clothes on. But yeah, I highly recommend getting this game. It's especially for $40, you definitely get your bang for your buck.
Yep.
And it's genuinely funny. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Solid 7.
7. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. 'Cause I think I'm a little higher. It would probably go. I'm gonna give it an 8. Just a little bit higher. It definitely could go to a 9, depending on how the other boxes work.
Yeah.
Like I said, we only play with the trees, but I'm very impressed with how this goes. And you could play this with, I would say anyone, but not really. You would have to probably play this with people who are of the same mindset as you. If you're playing with someone who has never played any game like chess or anything like that, and you have, you're probably going to do better than them.
At least without doing the substitute where you take some of your pawns away.
Yeah, that's true. Which at least they included that.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Cool. All right. That is our thoughts on That Time You Killed Me. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.